as Gabby Petito's family calls for justice.
I want to see him in a jail cell for the rest of his life.
Brian Laundrie's father answers the call to help authorities. One day after he's accused in a school shooting,
do you have anything to say to any of the victims?
A teenager in Texas bonds out of jail. And crisis averted.
We have reached agreement to extend the debt ceiling.
A deal reached to cover the country for another 2 months. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Happy Friday morning. It's almost the weekend. I'm Christopher Gomez.
And I'm Alejandra Garcia. Today's Friday, October 7th, 2021.
From the South Florida Media Network's Biscayne-based studios in North Miami, this is SFMN Newsbreak.
Looking for laundry, the search continues for Gabby Petito's fiancé. A new twist in the Florida manhunt for Brian Laundrie.
An unexpected name is joining the search. Today, Brian Laundrie's father, Chris Laundrie, assisting authorities in the search for his son. After leaving his house alone this morning, Chris is seen entering the Carlton Reserve along with the police. Brian reportedly told his parents he was headed to the reserve when they said they last saw him mid-September. The attorney for the family telling reporters Brian's parents believe he's still there, adding, the parents see no reason to make a public call for Brian to surrender to authorities because he says, in short, the parents believe Brian was and still is in the preserve, so there was no reason to issue a plea on the media that he does not have access to. All this coming as the parents changed their recollection of the day Brian went missing, telling reporters in a statement, quote, the Laundries were basing the date Brian left on the recollection of certain events. Upon further communication with the FBI and confirmation of the Mustang being at the Laundrie residence on Wednesday, September 15th, we now believe the day Brian left to hike in the preserve was Monday, September 13th. Meanwhile, Gabby Petito's parents and step-parents are grieving her loss and speaking out to Dr. Phil about how they hope to find Brian Laundrie alive.
I just hope he's found. I really do. I mean, like, alive. I want to see him in a jail cell for the rest of his life, where he's an outdoorsman, being in that concrete cell, and he can't go see those trees and hug those, you know, and smell the fresh air like that.
As an outdoorsman, that would be in a cement box.
The Carlton Nature Preserve has been closed to the public during the manhunt. It's currently not clear if Brian Laundrie's father will rejoin the search party later today.
Police have made another arrest in Northwest Miami-Dade concert venue shooting that killed 3 people. 20-year-old Warner Buckner is charged with first-degree murder and attempted murder with a deadly weapon. At least 20 more were also injured in the incident, which happened back in May. He joins 22-year-old Davon Browns, who was arrested last month after confessing to the police.
Timothy George Simkins, the alleged Timberview High School shooter, was released from the county jail yesterday after posting bond. The 18-year-old turned himself into the police on Wednesday after the high school shooting in Arlington, Texas. 4 people were wounded, and one of them is in critical condition. Investigators say a fight broke out moments before the shooting started.
He was scared. He was afraid. There's a video that's all out on social media, and it shows that he was being attacked.
Simkins' family is asking for forgiveness to all the victims' families and to understand the situation Timothy Simkins was in.
A deal made at the last moment, saving the U.S. from a debt ceiling crisis. Fabiano Osorio from our D.C. Bureau explains how it all went down.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer announced a bargain with Republicans to raise the federal debt ceiling before the government crashes.
We have reached agreement to extend the debt ceiling through early December, and it's our hope that we can get this done as soon as today.
This deal will allow the Republicans to vote on the measure, but only during a short amount of time. But some are saying this long-term solution may be critical.
And default will call into question the full faith and credit of the United States. Our country would likely face a financial crisis.
Lawmakers here on Capitol Hill were not able to come to an agreement on a long-term fix, but the deal they reached yesterday, they will extend the debt ceiling through early December. Yellen's claimed this may lead to an economic catastrophe, including job loss, stoppage of payment to workers, losing out on tax refunds, and more. Democrats are still negotiating a plan based on President Biden's domestic agenda.
It's not good enough to be vague. You want to cut childcare? How much do you want to cut childcare? You want to cut climate? Cut climate. How much do you want to do that? Tell us with some specificity what you want.
On his visit to the White House yesterday, Senator Joe Manchin says they are making progress, but they aren't offering much details.
He has his priorities, okay, and he knows I have my priorities, and He's my president, and I want him to succeed, and I want our country to succeed.
From Washington, D.C., Fabián Osorio, South Florida Media Network.
An important step to getting the COVID vaccine to children.
That's still ahead, and so is the story.
The masks were working and are working to decrease the number of cases.
A political fight in Florida over whether mask mandates in school have led to fewer cases. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Freedom. It's at the core of who we are. The freedom to live without fear, to jog where we please, to wear a hoodie. The freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
Radcliffe Art and Design Incubator is the velocity accompanying the fellow's rudder, as in a boat. Unless there is movement or action, the planned direction is of little consequence. We encourage the creative ideas into action, and from the experience of doing, we critically assess the feedback, adjust, and set out to rediscover the potentialities of an entrepreneurial mindset.
STEM is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get started.
A dispute over data as school districts continue to defy a ban by Governor Ron DeSantis against mask mandates.
Last night, the Florida Board of Education voted to punish that school districts have set in motion mask mandates.
Broward, Miami-Dade, and Palm Beach counties are among the districts being penalized. However, the state's agriculture commissioner, who is also running for governor, released new COVID data, says that the use of masks increases the number of COVID-19 cases and deaths.
Such indisputable evidence now that the masks were working and are working to decrease the number of cases.
The data release shows that districts that are still requiring masks have far fewer COVID-19 cases than districts that are not requiring it. The State Department of Education calls the numbers incomplete.
Pfizer has reached a stage as they request FDA authorization to vaccinate kids. As COVID cases have taken a statistically dip, Pfizer has announced it's seeking FDA-cleared approval for emergency use of the COVID vaccine to be used on children between the ages of 5 and 11. The request could mean vaccine shots for kids as soon as the end of the month. That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Alejandra Garcia.
And I'm Christopher Gomez. Get more news anytime at sfmn.fiu.edu. Take care.